welcome back to another video of the HTML and CSS web development course. So this is the second video of our portfolio project. In the last video we created a navigation bar and we created our first container, as you can see here. Looks pretty cool. And in this video we're gonna create our second container. So let's see the design. So this is the second container. This looks pretty nice. And it's an H2 maybe, some text and an image. I'm sure we can do this, right? So we go back to our HTML and we're gonna see where the first container closes, that is over there. So you're gonna open up div class and you're gonna call this second container. Okay, open this up. So we go to our containers here. We're gonna open it up and we're gonna call second container. Okay, so we give this a minimum height of 700 pixels. We're gonna give this a background dash color and let's check which color this is. We're gonna copy the hex code. Don't worry, as I said before, I will be sharing all the colors in a separate file, so you don't, so you just can copy paste them off from there. So I'm gonna save this. Let's go. No, wait a second. I forgot the margins. So we're gonna call margin dash left of auto. I'm gonna call margin dash right of auto. I'm gonna save this. Now wait a second, maybe it's better to take 0 pixels. That's better, because then we are sure that it will be on either side. So as you can see here, we created our second container. This looks pretty nice. So let's check the design again. What do we need? So we need 1, 2, 3 containers. So in the second container, we open it up. I'm gonna call div class, and you guessed it, row. Inside the row, we're gonna call div class, and we're gonna call dash 6. And we're gonna select this one. We're gonna open the first one up, and under that one we're gonna paste the call dash 6 as well, and we're gonna open it. So as you can see, in the first container we only called call 12, and each call 12 had its separate row, right? And this is because call 12, according to our grid system here, has a width of 100%. Pretty cool. So this will always stretch over 100% of the width of the screen, while 6 only has a width of 50%. So in this case, when we use 2 times 6, 2 times 50% is 100%. So in this case we cut like the row in half. So we have 2 columns of 50%. So inside there, we're gonna call div class, and we're gonna give this the name of introduction. And we're gonna close this. Okay. First we go back to index.css so that we are sure that we are working in the right container. So under the social button, we're gonna start a new comment. We're gonna call this second container content. Pretty cool. Gonna close this. So the first class is introduction. We're gonna open this up, and we're gonna open here inside the introduction in the HTML. We're gonna open div class. We're gonna give this a class who am I. So who am I? Make sure you use the scores in between as well. And the div class, we're gonna change this in the H1. Sorry, H1. So, and under the dot introduction, we're gonna call in the CSS file, we're gonna call dot who dash and dash I. Wait a second, this is a 1. And I need an I. Sorry, my mistake. Okay. Okay. And in the same, and under that h1, we're gonna call p of paragraph. We're gonna call class. And we're gonna call this who am I dash p. And we're gonna call this one as well who am I dash p. Okay. So in here we're gonna call who am I question mark. Pretty cool. So in the introduction, and because we are working with 2 column 6, we need to add a little bit more margins on the left and the right, because automatic is not going to work anymore. Well, maybe it's going to work, but it's not. I don't think that is the way how to do it. We could actually, I think we could actually, wait a second, margin dash right of auto, margin dash left of auto. Let's see what happens. Open it up. Yeah, as I thought, that is not gonna work. So we're gonna give this a margin left of 60 pixels. Let's see what happens. Okay. So we're gonna give the introduction margin dash top of 80 pixels. Let's see what happens there. A little bit more. We're gonna do 120. And then with 120, I'm sure it's gonna look okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's gonna be okay. Perfect. So who am I? We're gonna change this one first. That is done in H1. So we're gonna give this a color of white. We're gonna give this a font dash family of Ubuntu, comma sans dash serif. Okay, so as you can see when we open this, bam, Ubuntu. But now there's something else, because for in the last video we have been copying the font family into the intro H1, intro P, and so on and so on. We don't need to do that. That is way too much work. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna copy the font family of the intro H1. We go on top, we go to body, gonna save this, and we're gonna delete these ones. So first we're gonna delete the one in the intro H1, we're gonna delete the one in intro P, and we're gonna delete the one in who am I. So I'm gonna save this and go back here. And if I'm not mistaken, all the text should still be the same. And it is, right? So what happens here is, because all the content that's inside the body, it gets a property of font family Ubuntu. So everything that's inside the body is adopting those settings. Something else we can do, because if you look at the designs, right? Let's see the designs. The text color is all white, except these. So what we could do, theoretically, is go here. I could call color of white. Let's see what happens. Okay. And when we delete these, so we're gonna go back to the content. We're gonna call the color icon here. We're gonna delete it in intro H1 as well. And we're gonna call it in who am I. So save this. Let's go back. As you can see, this is pretty cool now. So we go back to the CSS. So we created, in the last video we created the body with the background color, and now we added the font family and the font color to the body as well. So we don't need to type those anymore. For us it's better because we don't need to do the work anymore. So that is really cool. I really love this now. I really like this. This is like the power of CSS, right? It's really amazing. So let's go back. So who am I? I think we don't really have to do anything because it already looks nice. Yeah, it looks already nice. I mean, this looks pretty cool. This looks pretty cool. Okay, so who am I? B. I don't think we need to change anything there, right? So we go to the internet. We're gonna call lorem generator. You don't need to type the whole lorem yourself, just copy it. So we go here, gonna copy till here. Let's see, I think it's enough. And we're gonna paste this inside the P. As you can see now, we have to do some editing to make it a little bit look nice inside the editor. So I'm gonna save this. Let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, the whole text is now stretching over the whole column 6, right? Because when we open the element, and this is the col 6, right? And it stretches all around it stretches on the whole width of the column. So I'm not happy with this, so we're gonna give the introduction, that's this one. I'm gonna give this also a width of 400 pixels. I'm gonna save this. Let's see what happens if we do that. Pretty cool, huh? So now the width is amazing. This looks really nice. But instead of giving it a width, we're gonna give it the max width. A max width of 400. And we're gonna give it a margin right of 20 pixels. Save it. Pretty cool. And now, oh, wait a second. I have to get rid of the margin right. So let's renew it. As you can see now it doesn't take on the whole the whole column 6. I'm going to make it smaller. The information gets smaller as well. And wait a second, this is not right. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So we're gonna inspect element, margin block. Okay. What if this if we make this a minimum width? Let's see what happens then. If we give it a minimum width. In this case we don't need, if I'm not mistaken, we do need to add a max width as well. So we're gonna give this a max width of 400 as well. And now if I'm not mistaken, make the minimum width a little bit smaller, make it 300. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is a lot better. But we're gonna give it the max width of 450, and we're gonna change the introduction margin left. We're gonna change this to 200 pixels. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait a second, I gave it a 2000. Sorry. So, okay. So we created our first information, and we're gonna change a little bit the margin top. We're gonna give it a margin top of 170 pixels. Okay, this looks pretty nice. I really like this. So we created some information about ourselves, and let's check the design again. as you can see, we have like a little bit more spacing here, right? So what we could do, we could use or BR, so line break, or we're gonna give this property, the UMI-B, we're gonna give this margin-top of 30 pixels. Let's see what happens. Nothing. I think that is because we already have 30 pixels. We're gonna make this 60. Why is nothing happening? Oh, maybe we need because it's already okay. What happens if we make this padding top? Let's see what happens then. Nothing is happening. What is happening here? So who am I dash B? Wait a second, I already see it. I made a typing error. I used a 1 instead of a Y. Pretty crazy. I'm gonna change this to 50px and the index.css. Let's see what happens. Pretty cool. This looks nice. This looks really nice. So we're gonna fix this later with the media attributes. We're gonna make the website a little bit more responsive, but we're gonna do that later. So, okay. So we finished our first call. Our first column is finished. So now we're gonna go to the second call 6, and what we're gonna do there, we're gonna call div class, and we're gonna give this. We're gonna call this me-image. Pretty cool. And inside there we're gonna call image class of intro image. I'm gonna give this a source of images dash, then we have me.png. Gonna close this. I'm gonna save them both, and first we're gonna check how this looks. Okay, this looks really weird, right? This looks really weird. If you see this, you think like, what? And let's check the column. So we go to inspect element. Let's see what's happening here. So we're gonna select the column. As you can see, it's all on the left, right? This is the wrong one. So we have this one. So we're gonna give this some padding, and we're gonna center this in the middle. So we're gonna call .me image, and we're gonna give this a margin dash right of auto. We're gonna give this a margin dash left of auto, and under that we're gonna call .intro image. Oh, and we're gonna give this a display of block and a margin dash left of auto, margin dash right of auto, and inside the me image we're also gonna add a text align just to be sure. Let's see what happens. Renew. Okay, so as you can see now the image is really nice and centered. So we're gonna do right click on the image, inspect element, and when we select the column, now you can see it's perfectly centered in the middle of the column. That looks really nice. So one thing we're gonna do, we're gonna give the me image, we're gonna give this a margin dash top, and we're already using a margin top of 170 for the who am I, so for the introduction, but I think we're gonna start with 100 pixels for the image. So we add margin top of 100 pixels. Gonna save this and let's check. A little bit more. So we're gonna change 100, we're gonna change to 130. just a little bit more, 135. This is so amazingly cool. We did such a good job here. This looks really, really nice. I'm really happy with this actually. But, you know, we're gonna give this a little bit more margin on the top. So we go back to introduction. We're gonna change the margin top from 170 to 180. And we're gonna change the margin top of the me image. We're gonna change that to 145 pixels. Pretty amazing. This looks pretty nice. I'm really proud of what we are accomplishing here. This is truly amazing. So, we created in the first video a really nice main container, so the first container with the navigation. We created some information, we added some buttons, some information about us, and an image. So, what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna explain to you guys how we are gonna center everything. So, when you go back to your website, as you can see, it looks really nice, right? But when you make it smaller and smaller and smaller, at some point, let's inspect this with the element. So, at some point, I'm gonna close this, I'm gonna close it. The two columns are overlapping, right? Or the content of the two columns is overlapping. So this is not a good user experience. This doesn't look really nice. So what we're gonna do, we go back to our CSS, and inside the CSS, we're gonna call add media. And we're gonna call screen, and gonna open this up. So inside the parentheses, we're gonna call max width. Double point, I think we're gonna do 740 pixels, 740 pixels, and we're gonna open this up. So, what media screen is, when a screen has like a certain size, right? When you work with mobile, and of course a whole website, whole desktop website doesn't fit on a mobile device. That is totally logical. So, when I make this smaller, as you can see now we have like a mobile website. Of course we didn't do the navigation yet, but we're gonna fix that later. So as you can see, these ones are resizing really nice, right? This looks really cool. The problem is, first this one doesn't really resize, and this looks like a mess. So when we are in here, let's say we're gonna call the okay, we go in here, and we're gonna create this class. We're gonna create this in the index.css as well. Okay, so we have like the social buttons, right? This one, the social button. So when we call the social button in here, .social button, and the padding is 30 pixels, and when we create padding, and we're gonna give this 10 pixels. Theoretically, and this is 100% theoretically, should the images of the button, the padding in between should be less. So let's see what happens. As you can see, that worked. So when we make it bigger, and we go smaller, and when it hits a certain breakpoint, the padding gets smaller, and now it's really nice together, right? We're gonna keep that, we don't need to change that. Okay, so as stated, when you make it smaller, as you can see, this looks like garbage. So when you're on a mobile device, and the two columns are still overlapping, right? This is not nice. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make some changes. So we go to our grid.css, and under it, we're gonna give this a flex dash wrap of wrap, and we're gonna give this way to grid, and it's gonna be align items dot center. Sorry, I already built the website before and I forgot to add this, so we're gonna go back here. And now, when we make it smaller, we make it smaller, we make it smaller. Theoretically, as you can see, the column flexes under the other column. Of course, we still need to fix this, but we're gonna fix the responsiveness in the next video. But this is a really nice start. This is really amazing. So, to recap, in this video we created our second container with a nice background. We created an H1 with UMI, some information and a really nice image. And we created a system where the column 6 is gonna flex under this one. Of course, in mobile it doesn't look really nice, but we're gonna fix all the responsiveness at the end of the section. So, I hope you learned something. I really hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, because I really enjoy fooling around with code. In the next video we're gonna create our third third container. And our third container has 3 unordered lists with a custom bullet and some extra, just some skills that we have. Okay, so as I stated, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's go to the next.